Hello, everyone. Welcome to Startup on the Blocks. We're excited tonight. We're going to be announcing a pitch competition. I have my Vance waiting backstage. I see you. I'm going to let you in a few minutes. And I see Natalie backstage, and she's going to come on and tell us a little bit about the Future Founders course. And Bree McCaskill would also going to come on and tell us a little bit about that. But we're so excited with this big announcement tonight with our pitch competition. And after we make that announcement, we're going to go into what we've been learning from the folks that have been attending the startup school. So let's get the show on the road. So first, I want to go ahead and make the big announcement, and then I'm going to invite Natalie and Vercel on stage, and Bree when she comes along there. So let's get this big announcement on the road on the go here. Need a drum roll for our. Want to announce our top 10 folks that will be participating in the competition. And without further ado, here are our top 10 and our 2 alternates or backups that in case a couple of the top 10 drop out. There they are. So exciting. Congratulations, Crystal, Tia Robinson, Grover Brown, Rico, Miles Sampson, Dylan, Basil, Cynthia, April, and Kimmy. And also we have a backup of Quinn and Terrace with their 2 startups. And so we're excited, for those, and everybody give those folks a really big congratulations. So our pitch competition will be 2 weeks from today. And so please go ahead and register. We'll make sure we put the links in the chat so you can do that. So now I'm going to invite the folks backstage up. Let's get them going here. Welcome aboard, Natalie Richard. She's going to tell us about her experience with the Future Founder stuff, and Vercel as well. Welcome, Natalie.
Good evening. Good evening.
Hi, Natalie.
I guess you just want me to jump in and get started.
You can introduce yourself and tell them about your experience with the startup school and taking the Future Founders course.
Yeah, well, hello, everyone. I'm Natalie Richard. I'm Lloyd's daughter. I live in Washington, D.C., but I came for Thanksgiving and have not yet made it back. So I'm here in Florida, and will hopefully be going home soon. But I'm grateful that my father's done this initiative, because I am actually been an entrepreneur in the past, but looking to go back into sharing and, kind of building something on my own. So when I saw him post about the Future Founder School or Startup School, I went and checked it out, and I was like, well, I guess I could do the actual one, but the Future Founders seems like a better track. I need to go from scratch. I need to make sure I'm doing all these things right. And so I checked it out. The curriculum, it gives you everything that you're going to do. And it just so happened to also help fit in my timeline. So that was very helpful for me. So it's not intrusive at all. It's just kind of do it as you go along. And so what I found this time, starting another business, or actually not even starting, I don't have an LLC. I don't have anything set up. I just have my idea. And so I'm having to walk through this step by step, and really taking a better appreciation for this, because I'm one of those people, I'm an MBA, I have the ability to see things and see all the way to the end. But this allows me to just let's digest this and make sure it's digestible to the people I'm going to try to serve in the future. So I guess a little bit about my idea. I'm trying to do a holistic health center for women in DC. And so with this startup school being very tech based, I do want to do like an application, a phone application or web app for the company. But I do want a brick and mortar business. And so the things that I've seen that have been really helpful is I think in the last week's lesson, they asked us to poll 5 people about questions for your business. And that for me was challenging. I had to like draft an email. It wasn't as challenging, but it was good exercise for me to really make sure I'm ready and I know what I'm asking for. And all the videos they do are very educational and they're all transcribed, which is a plus for me because sometimes I can't look at the computer anymore and I'll just ask my computer to read it to me. So that was helpful for me. So those are a couple things that you do have a little exercise to do at the end of each week. That is good. But there are plenty of videos and all the things. I think my father's probably mentioned it, but all of them are readily accessible now. So like if you know where their YouTube page is, you can go and watch most of the videos. But it's really neat to sign up because it will keep you on track. It'll send you an email every week to make sure you're on track with the curriculum and building your business. So I've enjoyed it thus far. It has been helpful for me, even though I'm experienced. So I definitely would recommend it.
Natalie, did you get any surprises from what you saw so far?
No surprises. I think I kind of didn't want to look at the video that was like startup ideas, but I guess I had to look at it to do the exercise for the week because I'm full of ideas. But that those exercises, I think they just break things down practically very well. So when they break each thing down, like you can take an idea and I think, let me tell you exactly what this is. So the idea that I loved the last week was vetting a startup idea, and that was the activity. But what we had to do is, oh no, it wasn't last week's. Don't worry, I'm gonna find it for you guys because this was really good. It was the week before last, but it was the idea quality score. And so you literally take 4 parts of your idea and then you rank them and then come up with an average to see if it's a good idea or not. So for me, it was a good activity because like I said, I'm full of ideas, but because like I can have an idea and I can think about it and be like, yeah, I could do a business with that. But this kind of gives you a solid metric. So it's like 1 to 10, you rate each one of these parts of your idea and then you average it out. And if you end up, getting above 6, then it's probably very viable for you to continue on with the idea. And so I thought that was really neat, very practical, but also helpful for me when so many people come to me with things and I dream up a business, but is it viable in the long run? And I think that's a good overlooked strategy. So that was really neat.
Yeah, I think that exercise on how do you evaluate an idea is pretty powerful, and having a tool like they have in the startup future founders course is pretty amazing, because that's one of the number one questions I get from entrepreneurs. They have, just like you, they have a lot of ideas, and so the question becomes, how do you evaluate them? And then to have a tool like that to run your idea through, it's pretty powerful. Yes. All right, just hang on, Natalie. We're going to see what Vercel, I muted your mic, but you can need to unmute your mic and then you can come back. Your mic is muted. Can you look down below look down and just unmute your mic? So at the bottom of your screen, just unmute your mic, Vercel. While Vercel is finding that, Natalie, and so so have you started on the stuff that's going on this week?
Yeah, I have. This week's actually about communication, and that's and finding a co-founder. The video I watched today was about communication. So and how to work together. So I thought that was pretty neat. And I got a good book suggestion out of that, which is Nonviolent Communication. And I thought that was a very interesting title for a book, which is actually very old. So I got to think of the author, but when I went to look it up, the author who's passed, I think his last name was Rothstein, he did a lot of nonviolent communication seminars throughout Africa and throughout all these different countries. So I thought it was pretty neat. And they also said that one of the CEOs, the CEO of Microsoft, when he came in, the last CEO, gave the book to all of the front office executives. So I thought that was a good read, something I like communication. So it's something that I'm looking forward to read, but
okay, good.
unexpected again.
All right. I see Vercel got his mic unmuted. I apologize. We're getting a little feedback. Go ahead.
Lloyd, can you hear me?
Sure, yeah.
Okay. Well, what do you want me to discuss, Lloyd?
Yeah, so like you've been doing the Future Founders course, haven't you? So just kind of give your impressions and how it relates to the ideas or your startup and the stuff you're working on.
Yes, I'll briefly. I think Natalie did an outstanding job of representing my ideas as well. But I have several businesses that I'm starting. It's kind of outside of my norm of IT and engineering, but it's a funeral home, a cemetery, and a men's storage business, all co-located on about 15 acres of land. And even though I have considerable experience in business, this Future Founders program is an outstanding format for learning the startup methodologies, and I highly recommend it.
Fantastic. Yeah, and so what I've noticed also is that the idea of the startup stuff, it in this Future Founders course is actually trying to get your mindset right for doing a startup. So even if you're doing, like, so for example, in your case, you're doing a cemetery. So the question is, a lot of folks have land that they could put a cemetery on, but they don't know how to do it. So, one way with your idea would be to, pivot, create a software product that takes some folks through the process and of doing it and making that as a service. So that's one way you can take a traditional idea and get it so it can actually scale.
Yes, I agree. And actually, Laura, I've been introduced to this idea of scaling. And I really believe that that the uniqueness of our integrated, co-located funeral home, cemetery, with repast services, everything on one site, we can scale this idea in multiple cities, in multiple states, and really do something unique with it.
Yes, that's fantastic. Since you were on, you were one of the judges for the pitch competition. So what you tell a little bit about what you thought of some of the applications and so forth.
Yes, I think you used the correct word, adjective. We're excited. We're excited about the 10 that were selected. And I was very impressed with all of the contestants. Great ideas. And it was too bad that we had to limit the number that we could choose to 10. I would have loved to have chose more, but you have to set a limit, and the limit was 10. And bunch of great ideas. Really tough not to include everyone. But Lord, it was a tough taskmaster. He he said you only can choose 10, and we ranked them, and the 10 that Lloyd listed came out on top.
That's fantastic, and it was an interesting experience in doing that. But the good news is we're going to competitions quarterly, and what we also hope that the people that did apply, they would start participating and start up on the blocks, and maybe we can let them have access to some of the services we'll have, even though they're not doing the pitch competition.
Right.
Yes. So that's exactly right. Now, I was hoping that Bree would come backstage. Bree, if you're listening in, if you sent you an email earlier today with the backstage link, so if you would kindly click it and come back and tell us about your experiences with the startup school. And so after I will show some. We'll get my opinion on it too, because I'm actually taking the startup course right now as well. So I'll go ahead and kind of give my experience, and then after that, I can also show you some of the curriculum and stuff like that. But so I've participated in several accelerator programs, and things that I found out was, and so whenever there's a pitch competition, you have to put your application in. Whenever there's an accelerator program, you have to put your application in. And last week, one of the videos was on how do you pitch your idea. And I thought it was just traditional pitching, but what it was also about is what they mentioned in the video was how do you answer the questions in an application for a pitch competition or for accelerator program. And then the guy said, well, we have this link here where it gives you all the pointers on how to how to write your answers to the questions in the pitch application or accelerator application. And to think, after myself, I probably applied for 100 different programs, and just to think, I probably got a few more yeses if I had use that link. And so that's the power of this stuff that's actually available. So if you guys want to hang around, you can, but I'm going to just go over some of get them started with the reason. But here comes Bree. Let me let Bree come on and tell her side of it before I get started.
Hi. Hey, good afternoon or evening, rather. Sorry, I didn't click on the button. I've been here listening the whole time.
Okay.
Well, my experience, there is a lot of reading. The videos are quite nice, though. That kind of breaks the reading down a little bit. But there are a couple of things that I appreciated that they some notes that I wrote down that I read through that I felt like kind of spoke to me, because a lot of times it talks about, why aren't there more startups? And the reasoning or the rationale, you might have a couple or a combination of those 8 things that they pointed out. Maybe you have a family to support, or maybe you think it's too risky. But some of the things that they pointed out, if you think that it's a little too risky for you because you have a family to take care of, maybe you can start doing consulting. And then that way, that kind of gets your foot in the door, that gets you started. And then later on, maybe turning to a product business. So that kind of hit home with me. The other thing that I thought was really great about some of the reading that I came across was the uncertainty part. Basically, your experience of thinking, if I do a startup, I'm going to fail. It says plan for the worst. So even if you do fail, the experience of getting through and actually creating that startup and the process, it's so much more beneficial than not having started the process at all. So those are some points that kind of stuck out for me. As far as the platform, it seems very approachable. It is, self-paced. So as you have time, I usually try to make a time out of the week to get on for like an hour or two, but it's self-paced. Even if you don't get on that week, you can still kind of catch up and do the reading and watch the videos and the activity. So I appreciated that. It's not like if you miss a week, you're so far behind that you can't continue. So those were some of the things that I appreciated. And, we should have more startups. There are lots of people out there with great ideas. And sometimes you just might be intimidated by the thought of failure or the thought of how can I do a startup and also support my family and maintain the bills and the normal mundane things that you might have. So it kind of like broke down those things that might discourage a startup from actually going down that path. And then the one thing that really kind of made sense to me is think about something in your day-to-day life that you're experiencing that you wish, they had a solution for. And, to kind of share where I was at, I was thinking about how I would think it'd be a great idea if you could get your eyes checked, like on a video call or, without having to go into the doctor's office. And to my knowledge, you have to go in and usually you have to be at the office for a period of time to get your eyes checked. But I was thinking that would be a really great time saving business that I would be interested in if I could just hop on, get my eyes checked, get my prescription done, and then the process cut down instead of me having to make an appointment, go in and check because, I wear glasses. And as I get older, I realize I need to go in a little bit more often to have them checked out. But to me, just thinking about what are some issues in your day-to-day life that you encounter, what would be something that would solve problems for other people beyond yourself. And to me, that was just something as I've been going through this process, because when I started, I didn't have an idea. But then as I keep going week through week, I was like, oh, that would be something really brilliant because we all, as we get up in age, we have an adjustment in our eyesight. But my experience has been really good. I'm glad I'm actually a part of it. And as I said, the self-pace and just reading the thoughts of other startups and, their challenges and, things that might have, get you discouraged, just thinking how they got through those problems, how they solved those problems has been really beneficial. And failure is just really a learning experience. That's been one of the best takeaways.
Yeah. So Bree, let me give you some feedback on that. So that sounds like an interesting idea. So basically, once you start on something like that, and so this week's lesson is about co-founders. And so let's say you're not a technical person, but you have this idea. So like me being a technical person, I can imagine ways you might possibly do that. And so, and this is what the networking is about in Startup on the Block. So when two people start talking about ideas or stuff they have, then they can support each other and moving forward with those ideas. But that's how the innovation starts, when you start taking. So like, for example, what I would tell you is I wouldn't, maybe start off with a screening thing with using the Android phone or iPhone, and then evolve to the exam. And so you see what I'm saying? So so whereas locally here we have a company called Iris, and they have they do a screening thing in the doctor's office, but they're primarily looking to see if you have cataract or whatever. But there may be something that you can do. So like for example, I do my eye appointment this year, and I got to get one in before the end of the year. But last year when I went to do my eye appointment, so this is an example of how simple, something you may be able to potentially do. And I don't know if it's possible with a phone, but it potentially could be possible. And so the deal is what the doctor told me. She said, well, I can tell if my patient has some type of heart disease or diabetes or something like that just by looking in their eyes. Okay, and so basically what she said was, I can see the blood vessels in their eyes. If they're sticky, I know they have a heart disease or some type of problem, because if they're, that's, heart disease is leaky blood vessels. And so that's kind of how you can kind of get started. But if you never get started and you never start communicating with a co-founder or another person, it's hard to move forward, because ideas flow when two people come together and start working on stuff.
Yeah, we should get up and maybe continue this discussion. I think it would be so cool. Yeah, think about how many people, you go to the doctor, you're wasting a significant amount of time driving there, leaving. And then when you get your prescription, you don't always get your glasses right away. Just, they do have this incredible technology where you can open your iPhone by just looking at it. So I'm sure it's definitely possible.
Yeah, but that's what innovation is all about. And I apologize, I don't remember her name. She's so famous now because she does commercials and everything. But this founder up in Atlanta, that came up with the company Part Picks, and her company got bought by Amazon for who knows how much money. But now she's out there helping other founders like you, get started. But I think it's Collab Capital is the organization. But so she had moved back to Atlanta. She had been working with Google, and by the way, she's also in charge of Google for Startups that works for people like us, to get take advantage of the programs Google has. And so but her situation was, if I remember the story correctly, was she was working in a call center. She had with Google out on the West Coast, but then some family member got sick or something, so she had to move back to Atlanta, and she ended up with a lower paying job at a call center. But all these people kept calling in about these problems they were having with their appliances and trying to find the parts. And so she, not being technical, but she said the people would always say, I got a picture of the part, I know what it looks like, but I don't know where to get it at. And then she thought about the music app Shazam, where you play a tune and it tells you what the name of the song is. So she just went from there and started talking to people about it, and found out it was possible to do. And then her partner, I think what's her name from that we had on, with the newsletter, the regional newsletter that comes out. She teamed up with a lady from Mississippi and that had just graduated from Georgia Tech with a PhD in AI stuff, and they teamed up, and the rest is history. Wow. So it just getting started. That's what's so important. And so the bottom line is, you can actually start working on that idea and enter pitch competitions. Now, the minute you start working on an idea, you are a founder, and as you start working on it, just like I told the people that entered the pitch competition, once you submitted that application, you used to be a future founder, now you're a founder. And the minute you start working on your idea and taking advantage of all this stuff, now you can get help from all these companies like Google, AWS, IBM, you name it, you can get help from them. And all these accelerator programs, all these pitch competitions, everybody's trying to help you. And just for the audience to realize that, now that you're in the game, working on your idea, there's over $1 billion set aside for Black founders to help them turn their idea into a product or service. That's truly amazing. And it's for the people that were participating, submitting the application in our pitch contest. I don't think they really know, by doing that, now they're in the running to compete to get some of that money. Isn't that amazing?
It is, definitely. The Startup on the Blocks is a great resource, and I'm glad that you guys have put that together here in the Pensacola area. But there's so many people that would benefit from being able to network with other entrepreneurs and to really talk out their ideas and, you know, not only just discuss it, but then making it actually happen for them.
But if you keep that idea to yourself, you know, nobody's gonna be able to help you with it.
Right.
Yeah, I was just gonna make a point about the resources available. I'm not sure if anyone subscribed to Quibi that came out this year before the pandemic, and then we're all locked in our houses, and Netflix and Hulu took over. But Quibi was supposed to be a short video platform, and they raised $500 million and are defunct today. So they didn't even make it through the year. So there are people willing to invest in ideas, even if they're bad, because this was just a bad idea. Pandemic outside of that, like this was just a bad idea. But they're defunct. They've already filed for bankruptcy. So, you know, they're trying to liquidate their business to pay all these people back, but they raised $500 million to launch that. So there's money out there. And just as my father said, like if you have an idea and you put it out there, you can still take your startup package and, you know, like make sure you have it all together and submit it somewhere else. Because they're mostly asking the same questions at this point. Accelerators are asking maybe a little bit more in-depth questions, but these pitch competitions are asking the same questions. So you're ready to submit it multiple times over. So, and you'll have that ready when you're done with the future founders.
Excellent points. Hey, Lloyd, just this one quickie. Bree gave me the idea. It made me think about me finding or founding these this cemetery, this funeral home. This wasn't my idea. I didn't sit around and think about how I could start a cemetery or a funeral home. That's not in my view of businesses to run. My sister came to me with the idea because they had utilized all the grave sites in the community cemetery. I had 40 acres of land sitting right beside a cemetery. And so the idea was spawned based on my sister having a need, and me recognizing that I can satisfy that need and create. I'm projecting the first 5 years, maybe $4 to $5 million of revenue, and this very low maintenance. So I'm expecting this to be a very good business for me.
Yeah. So how much of land are you going to use for that, Bercel?
Well, I'm going to stage it. Initially, I'm allocating 6 acres and then and clearing the rest. So if I change my mind and want to do something else with it, so I got 7.5 acres allocated to the funeral home and the cemetery, and I got another 8 acres that I can use for expansion purposes.
Yeah, what was interesting about your idea there was it seems like you could get more value out of the land by doing a cemetery than you could if you had put some other business on the land or whatever. And so that was pretty unique. And I think there are a lot of folks that have air property or property in general that don't realize that they don't know what the opportunity is in moving forward with something like that. And so that's pretty neat. So I can comment. So this week I'm listening to. As a matter of fact, this morning I was listening to the video with the startup Future Founders course. And of course, I'm already a founder, but I'm taking the Future Founders course because I didn't know what I was doing when I started. So I figured I would go back and see what's going on here. And so this morning they were talking about how do you select, in the video I was listening to, how do you select a co-founder? And actually I was listening, so the one I was listening to this morning, they were relating your co-founder like a husband or a wife, and how it's similar. And I think I was telling Bercel about this earlier today, that so there was this psychologist that if he looked at a couple arguing for 15 minutes, he could predict whether they would be divorced in 4 years or not, and up to an 85% accuracy. And then so he said if he could listen to them for an hour, he could predict up to like over 95% actually whether they would be divorced. And so they were kind of teaching you that a co-founder relationship is like a marriage. The video was is that there you have to have some guidelines on verse if you're mute for just a second.
I'm mute.
Yeah, one of the other things I learned about this co-founder thing. So that they were talking about how you elect a co-founder, and so this was amazing to me. So, and I will relate it to the marriage thing, but so you may want to date your co-founder for a little while, before you bring them on. But really, what the guy said, he said that you work on some small projects together, and then from those working on those projects together, then you learn about each other and how you handle things, and then from relationship, then that person and they know you, and then you can potentially, that's maybe a good person to be a co-founder. And I thought that was pretty interesting because like with the Y Combinator that's doing the startup school stuff, they basically said they've since 2005 or 2006, they've only invested in 2 companies that didn't have a co-founder. So the best practice is having a co-founder, and they basically it's like a marriage, so you can support each other when one is down and one is up. You can support each other because that's just the name of the game. It's tough when you're trying to do something big by yourself. But for my next company, I'm gonna see who I can start dating. But
talk to Robin about that.
What dating in this case means finding a project to work on together, and just to kind of build some relationships. I hope Robin is not tuned in here, but but I just thought that was a cute way to look at it, and so that's pretty amazing. So I want to take maybe do you all have any other comments you all would like to make about the startup school? And what I wanted to do was just show the audience some of the website and some of the curriculum and some of the and I'll do that for a few minutes, and then we'll for questions. So if y'all want to just, that would be great, and just in case the audience, well, we can go ahead and take some questions now. I guess it's not really all that important. So if anybody has any questions, if you would go ahead and put them in, and let me see if I can click the thing. I haven't been looking at the chat, so I don't know if anything about the question. So if you have any questions, go ahead and type them in. Let's see what we have here. So Pat Runer says he's available to be a co-founder. And the question from Sandy, where do you work? I always enjoy hearing you present. So what you can answer that question.
Oh, I work for the Small Business Development Center, the SBDC, at the University of West Florida. We actually have a couple of offices. We have an office at the university at Building 8, and then we have offices in Panama City and in Fort Walton Beach. And then we also have an office downtown at the SCI building.
Yeah, so Bree is also going to be one of the mentors to help the 10 folks that are going to be participating in the pitch competition. So she's going to be helping. Pat Rooney is in the audience. He's going to be helping support the getting folks ready to pitch on 2 weeks from tonight. Also, Bob Foster is going to be available to help. I will be available to help get you prepared. Vercel, will be available, and we will do everything we can to get you the contestants ready and get them support we need. And so the beautiful thing, if the contestants will have, we're going to invite them into our one of our portfolio companies, and once we invite them into there, then they're going to have access to all those $400 and some $1,000 worth of resources. And I failed to mention that so the prize money, so it's a total of $2,000, and if somebody could bring if Lloyd Jr. or Natalie could bring the application page up, that would be, put it in the chat so we can kind of see what all the prizes are. But I did want to mention Julian McQueen from Industry. He donated to $2,000 for the cash prizes. And then we had the Pensacola Chamber donated a year membership for the first prize winner. We had the Gulf Coast, thanks to Brian, with the Gulf Coast Minority Chamber, they donated, a membership to the Minority Chamber. And Chris Hendricks, who does our live streaming, and he also has a Bantucola, the directory site, so he's going to offer a premium listing to the top 3 finalists. There's just so many rewards available for the for those folks participating in the contest. And so we also the contestants, we're gonna invite them to the resources that we have available, with the KuKua Institute for our Startup on the Blocks program. We have a framework that allows the startup to let them know everything they need to do to kind of get their a startup up and running. It lays out a schedule and all the tasks that need to be done to get your MVP out there. And so that's a resource that we have. We also have if the startup needs it, we have a project management tool that they can use free of charge, and the team can use it, and they can use that to manage the tasks, to manage their software, to manage whatever. So it's pretty exciting, the resources that we'll pull together. And one of the things that we'll also do, we would help the startups build up their profile on these, help them learn how to get connected to get the help they need to grow their startup. And what we're hoping is that we can be a gateway, to connecting to some of these other opportunities out there. And I was talking to Grover on the networking earlier today. So like on our Spark XYZ platform that the folks register for the pitch competition, they offer about a little over $400,000 worth of free resources. But we also will, and this is available to anybody, F6S, F as in Frank, 6 as in the number 6, and S as in Sam.com. To show you the difference between the two sites is you can log on the f6s.com site and start, putting your startup profile in there. All the folks that's participating in the pitch competition, they can just log in there and start putting their profiles in there, their company profile and their personal profile. And so that, like on the Spark XYZ platform, they offer like $2,000 in Amazon credits. But the F6S offers $30,000 in Amazon credits, and so it's just, and so like as you're building your MVP, now you have a place to host it. And if you blow up like some of these startups, now you already have a lot of your expenses taken care of to move you forward. So, and we're also we have one of our volunteers at the nonprofits is a software developer. And so we got the expertise to kind of guide you in what you're doing. And we also have some volunteer software developers, to kind of help as well. But we do the networking thing every Thursday, and we offer some so you can actually have a chance to meet people and get the connections you need to kind of move forward. And so I see I got a question here. So Ron, what are some major differences between pitching products in the private sector and versus the government? So I can probably tackle that. So pitching products. So in the government, the government buys software and products. And so, like Verse Health, for example, his company Affidata Corporation, had a software maintenance contract, and so the government buys software, but they have to do your annual maintenance thing. So they use a company like his to do all the purchases for them, and then the company gets a commission. And so government employees use tools to do their job. So the way I got into the AI stuff was working in a research lab and developing technology for webbing concepts. We always had to, do ground tests, flight tests, and we always had all this data all the time. And so we needed a way to analyze the data to understand what was going on. And so I needed so I said, well, it would be nice to have a AI tool that we can actually model this data really, really fast. And so that's kind of, so it's just the government buys just like the private sector does. And so because all companies use tools. Did you have something, Lord Junior?
Hello, Dad. I wanted to come in to help with some of the other questions that are here in the chat. So one of the questions from Crystal Smith, she actually asked two questions. One is, what is your opinion on the best way to market and test your idea? And her second question is, how do you protect your idea while pitching and searching for co-founders?
Okay, so the first question is, so let me make sure. So protect your idea while pitching. So the way I always explain that to people, if you don't pitch, the idea is worth zero. All the work to bring it to reality is what makes it valuable. But the idea is not necessarily intellectual property. And so the old traditional way, you protected everything, but in the economy we're in now, everything is open. And so ideas are a dime a dozen. So nobody has time to work on every idea. Now, so what gives your idea an advantage is that you may have some patent or trade secret that nobody else knows about, and you have to protect that. But the idea itself is not the kind of thing to worry about protecting, because you can't get any help if people don't know what you're trying to do. So what was the second question?
To improve, what is the best way to market test your idea?
Okay, so that's what the learning the methodology for the lean startup methodology, and so that's a fantastic question. So everything about the startup school right now, we're in the Future Founders Startup School, but they also offer the regular startup school for people who are already working on their idea. And in these programs, that's what you learn. And it kind of pisses me off sometimes when people ask me, help them with something when they won't take the time to learn what's already out there for free. And so it's just that you have to go through the process. You can't just come in halfway or middle way. You have to learn it. So every accelerator program I've been in, they teach you. You have so much training about marketing. It's unbelievable. And so that's what the point is. The startup school, it's actually pretty much, it's got almost every resource that you could think of to help you learn. So guess what? The startup school, Y Combinator's been doing this since the mid 2000s. And let me just see, can I share a screen here? Because that's what I kind of wanted to do earlier. And I guess, Bree, I'm going to, Versel and Natalie, I'm going to kick you off because it looks like it's not letting me share my screen because do I already have it? Shit, let me just check something here.
I just have one question or one comment while you're working on that. To Carlos's point, how he can polish and improve his pitch idea. Something that has worked for me is to record myself presenting, and then I go back and watch it, and then I critique myself about what I like, how I looked, how it sound, if it went too long. So I think that's a good idea. Record yourself, watch it, critique it, make adjustments. And that typically helps me when I am getting ready to present or do any sort of presentation.
Okay.
Thank you, Bree, for that too, because that is absolutely one of the big things that we're not used to doing is being on camera. But those are those questions that I see so far. So I'm going to head off as well, and then you can continue.
Okay, I appreciate that. And so the point I want to really make here is we don't have to reinvent the wheel on any of this stuff. The resources and the programs are out there, and so when you can't participate in these programs, those resources are online. But when you're let's say when you're in the as being a part of the pitch competition, you're going to get invited, and so we will have training on the marketing of the ideas. This is for Crystal, but what's interesting is that's what the whole point is. And so the question you would ask yourself, so when I did my first accelerator program, I was working on cognitive big data systems. And so when I did my second accelerator program, I was working on another company. And so the reason why I went through the accelerator program was because I want to go through all the steps that it takes to build my MVP or to market that particular idea. And so you have to, so work going in an accelerator program is you go step by step, and just like in the Future Founders School, you were actually going through the process as if you had a company, but the startup school, they also offer a founders course online as well. So you can actually register for that and take that for free. But it literally leads you through all the key things to build and grow your company. And so don't feel bad about asking these questions because, there's so many, one of the companies I'm mentoring now, they ask the same question today. How do you market your idea? And there's so many approaches for doing that. But the beautiful thing, one key thing I'll tell you about that is, so what you learn in the lean startup methodology is that when you're you have to come up with a way to market what your product or service that you're creating, and once you figure out get your marketing strategies. Let's say if I spend this much, I do these things, and I get people into my sales funnel, and if I spend this much, I get one sale. If I spend this much, I get 2 sales. And once you get that figured out, now you know what it takes to scale your company. And so that's what the investors want. Once you can figure out what it costs for you, what are your marketing costs are to pull in to get the sales, then that's your customer acquisition cost. And so the question is, how long will you have that customer? If that customer, it lasts 3 years, and the lifetime value of that customer is let's say $5,000, and you spend $100 to get that customer, then you have an investable idea, because I can go out and spend, you know, so much money based on your marketing approach, and I know I can get this many customers. That's what the key is. So you learn all this stuff, but you have to get started. You can't sit on the sidelines and do it. So that's the beauty of once you get involved in these programs, you learn this stuff. But most people think they already know how to do stuff, but they don't realize the playbook has already been written. And so if you look at my screen up here, I'm sharing this page, and it's one of the founders of Y Combinator, and he's telling you what you need to do to get your mind right, to be a founder. And this is just audio, so it's about less than 45 minutes, but he's got it broken up to all the things. So let me look at the page so I can actually see see if marketing is one of the things. So that's part of growth. So it's he's telling you the secrets to all these things, and so this is to get your mindset. And so those of you that like that Facebook page, this is the first post on the Facebook page, and it's locked to the top because it's the idea to get you in the right mindset to actually moving forward. And so that's a long answer for that question, but there's just several things, but definitely take a look at that website, and just go to our Facebook page, and you'll actually be able to see that. Let's see. Let's see if we got any more question here. Are they, Lloyd Jr., do you see any more questions out there? Let's see. I'm gonna go share one more screen here so y'all can see one more thing before we get off here. Let's see.
Why is my computer?
Yeah, you're working. I can see you.
Oh, okay, good. Thank you. I was about to scream. I didn't do that. But there are no more questions I see on Facebook or out there. Only 3 minutes left, but definitely continue sharing that. And then I would love to see the screen with our winners one more time, our semifinalists, excuse me.
Okay, will do. Alrighty, so this is a link, ycombinator.com/library, and it's out there for free. And anything you want to know about being a startup, is they accumulated all this information over years and years and years. So, for example, this video right here, it was part of this week's lesson, and it's only 4.5 minutes, but it tells you how you do equity splits with your co-founders. And so that, here's from what Natalie was talking about, how you evaluate startup ideas. And I haven't looked at this, so here's the one for the pitch deck. So it's just so many resources, and this is just 1/1,000,000th of the resources that are out there. And so I'll stop sharing this, and I'll bring up the winners again. So go back again. Okay, so here are the pitch competition winners for the that will get the pitch, the 10 contestants and the 2 backups. So again, you see. So what I want to let all these people know, you will be getting an email tomorrow with all the details about the pitch competition and what you need to do to prepare, and the help that's going to be available to you to do it. And so I just want to congratulate all of you for taking that first step to move forward. And we have some exciting resources for you all to help you move forward. And the pitch competition is just the first step of getting in the door. You literally, like Vercel says, you stepped into the ecosystem. Now you are a founder, and now you have access to, you can start paving your way to over $1 billion worth of resources that are out there for Black and Brown founders. Yes, so congratulations again. Let's see. All righty, so we basically done. We appreciate you all hanging in, and we want to thank Vercel, Natalie, Bree, and Lloyd Jr. for helping out. I'm still excited, and I'm so happy that these future founders took that first step, to step into the ecosystem. Congratulations, and we'll see you all next week. And we're real excited about working with the community to help grow some startups. Good night.